It's time for Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. One day after a big win over the Falmouth Commodores, the Brewster Whitecaps, winners of 4 straight, are back in action and starting off the second half of the Cape Cod League season. Half of it is behind them and half still in front at the very midway point of the year. Carter Woodeel and Morris Sheridan here with you from Red Wilson Field in South Yarmouth, where the Brewster Whitecaps are in town to take on the 3-time defending Cape Cod League champion Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. And Maura, Brewster got a big win last night against a very good Falmouth team. They were able to pull it out in the end behind some terrific pitching.
Absolutely. Robert Broom is the story of the end of the game, but also you could talk about Davis Daniel. You could really talk about any of the pitchers. Paulie Milto also pitched a good inning for the Whitecaps. Obviously, anytime you have a shutout, that's something, to cheer about for the pitching staff. But again, the moment that comes to mind is the Robert Broom. At the end, there was a triple that had a runner, the tying runner, in scoring position, and Robert Broom, with just one out, had to strike out the next batter, and he did just that and preserved the shutout, got the save there, did Broom. So that's a moment that really stands out yesterday, a high intensity game that really came down to the last moment. Davis Daniel, Paulie Milto, and Robert Broom, as you mentioned, combining for the first Whitecaps shutout of the season in their 1-0 victory. In those 9 innings, they gave up just 3 hits and only walked 3 batters, striking out 10 combined for those 3 hitters. A terrific line all around. As you can hear, it is a gusty day once again here in South Yarmouth. The wind is blowing. Looks like right now it's blowing straight out to center. It's also kind of moving out to left center field. It's already a hitter's park here, but the offenses are looking to have a good day today. It was a great day for the Whitecaps in BP. They were hitting bombs all over. The Brewster Whitecaps are getting ready to go up, but let's talk some pitching for you real quick. We're going to bring in the third member of our crew, Aiden Doyle. The Whitecaps will be sending out J.R. McDermott for this ball game. He's done a terrific job so far of his season. Aiden has more.
Thanks, Carter. And yeah, I think terrific might even be an understatement. I talked to Coach Shevchik before the game. McDermott, this is his final start of the year for the Whitecaps, obviously reaching his innings limit through a lot of innings this past season for Colorado Mesa as one of the Mavericks' top starters. So far this year, a 2.02 ERA on the season. That is the 4th best ERA in the entire Cape League. Not bad for a Division II guy whose first start way back in the second game of the season at McKeon Park was called a tryout by Coach Shevchik. And so when I asked what he needs to do here, what he wants to see from him in his last start, his last hurrah for the Whitecaps, he said just keep the ball down. Obviously, this is a small ballpark here at Red Wilson Field, wind blowing out today. You tend to see a lot of home runs here in South Yarmouth. So as long as you keep the ball down against a good YD Red Sox team, he actually cited Davis Daniel's start yesterday against the Commodores as a prime example of what can happen. If you command that fastball located at the bottom of the zone, McDermott's going to have another successful outing. Yeah, 106 innings combined between Colorado Mesa and the Brewster Whitecaps this year. He leads the team in innings pitched already heading into this start, which will be his 5th of the year. The numbers on McDermott, as Aiden mentioned, a sparkling 2.02 ERA. In those 22 1/3 innings, he has 17 hits allowed, 6 walks, and 19 Ks. Does have a couple of home runs allowed as well in that game against Falmouth. J.R. McDermott has really been a great presence for the Brewster Whitecaps so far. Let's run you down the Brewster Whitecaps lineup. Let's listen in to what Jamie Shevchik will be sending out. There are a few changes from yesterday's game. Let's take a listen.
Connor Smith, infield, Western Michigan University.
Kyle Datris, infield, University of North Carolina.
Michael Curry, designated hitter, the University of Georgia.
Hey, I'm Marty Casas, outfielder, University of Maryland.
Julian Infante, infield, Vanderbilt.
Zach Gahagan, I play every position on the field except bench, the University of North Carolina.
Justin Coons, catcher, the Gardner-Webb University.
Christian Molfetta, infielder, Stanford.
Devin Foyle, outfielder from University of Kansas.
J.R. McDermott, right-handed pitcher, Colorado Mesa University.
And so, Marcia, there are a lot of different changes to this lineup. Obviously, the Whitecaps got their 4th straight win yesterday, but they only scored 1 run and left 12 runners on base. What switches do stand out to you the most here on the lineup card?
Well, I think since a lefty is pitching, you're going to see AJ Graffinino, Hunter Bishop, and Chandler Taylor all out of the lineup, and that's obviously because they are left-handed hitters against a lefty pitcher. And I think this might just be Jamie Shevchik trying something new out. They are on a 3-game winning streak, so maybe just throwing in some new things, seeing what happens here. Justin Coons and Christian Molfetta. Well, the Justin Coons one makes sense to me because last time we were here, we saw 8 stolen bases from this YD team. They were running on Michael Curry, and Justin Coons, arguably the best defensive catcher for this Whitecaps team, so that one makes a lot of sense to me.
And the YD Red Sox, as a team, have 36 stolen bases, which is second in the Cape League. They've also been caught 15 times to go with those 36 steals. But that's the highest number on the Cape so far this season. So a bit of a risk-reward for Scott Pickler's club. We're going to take a quick break as we get ready for the pregame, etc. We're going to get you set on the lineup for the home team, the YD Red Sox, and take a look at Chris Bubich, who will be starting things off for YD. When we come back after this, you're listening to the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Welcome back to Red Wilson Field in South Yarmouth. Whitecaps and Red Sox on tap for this ball game. Want to get you set real quick on the lineup for the home team, the YD Red Sox. Nico Horner will be leading off and playing second base. Kyle Isbell, the center fielder, will hit second. Alex McKenna will be hitting in the 3 spot and playing right field. Alfonso Rivas will be playing first base and batting cleanup. Carlos Cortez is hitting in the 5 hole and playing left field. Christian Koss is the third baseman. He is hitting 6th. Drew Mendoza will be the DH for Scott Pickler's team, and he will hit 7th. Connor Kaiser, the shortstop, hits 8th. And finally, Mike Casala will be doing the catching and batting 9th. That's a last-minute change to the YD Red Sox lineup so far in this ball game. And on the mound for the Red Sox today, it's Chris Bubich, the lefty out of Stanford University. And as you said, more of the Brewster Whitecaps lineup is preparing for him. The lineup is entirely right-handers, except for Devin Foyle bringing up the rear, who's a switch hitter. So clearly, Jamie Shevchik is not only using his lineup to set up against this guy, but you have to imagine if and when Chris Bubich leaves the mound, we're going to see Jamie Shevchik go to his bench.
Absolutely. Again, I just think this was against a lefty situation, but I think it may also just be giving guys like Hunter Bishop a break. We've seen Hunter Bishop in the lineup a lot in the past couple of days, so I think it might just be giving him an off day as well.
Marty Costas is out in center field for the Brewster Whitecaps in this ball game. Bubich taking his warm-up pitches. The rising junior out of Cupertino, California. So he takes it in, and gets in. Let's get you set on the YD Red Sox defense while we have a second. In the outfield, it's Carlos Cortez, Kyle Isbo, and Alex McKenna left to right. In the infield, third to first, it's Koss, Kaiser, Horner, and Rivas, and Casala will be behind the plate, catching Chris Bubich. And here comes the Brewster Whitecaps leadoff hitter, Connor Smith, and we're getting ready to start the baseball game here this evening. Brewster wearing their road teal uniforms with Brewster written across the front in white, and YD wearing their white home unis that are almost a carbon copy of the Boston Red Sox uniforms. The pitch is in there for a strike to start things off to Connor Smith, and we are underway with the count 0-1. Umpiring crew today, we'll get you set on that in a second as the lefty's ready to deal the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that was Connor Smith. It looks like we've seen the first Chris Bubich changeup of this ball game. Bubich has a terrific deceptive changeup. That is his go-to off-speed pitch. That's where he gets the majority of his swings and misses. The 0-2 just misses on a fastball to make the count 1-2 strikes. The umpiring crew for this ball game, Jeff January behind the plate. Jeff Merzel is at first, and Frank Auditory is over at third base. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's hit hard into left field. That one is going to drop for a base hit in front of Carlos Cortez out there. So Connor Smith reaches with another single, and one of the speedier guys on this Whitecaps team is now aboard with nobody out.
Number 3.
Just what you would have drawn up there, just a little looping single into left field, and now Kyle Datris will dig in from the right side for Brewster. Smith 4 for 4 stealing bases aboard first base for the Whitecaps. It is quite a windy day. Wind right now blowing out pretty much just straight away left, something we've seen at Stony Brook Field in Brewster so far this season. Datris is a right-handed hitter. The pitch is an off-speed pitch taken for strike number 1. Bubich's total arsenal, he's got a fastball that'll be high 80s, a curveball, and that changeup, and he's not afraid to throw that off-speed pitch in a traditional fastball count. Here comes the 0-1. Nobody's going to check the runner at first. So they throw it on over, and Smith walks back with ease. Datris entering this game is hitting .276 with a .403 on-base percentage. No home runs and 3 runs driven in. The right-hander waiting on an 0-1 pitch. Here comes. It's a breaking ball fouled away. Looked like Datris was out in front of that one, was just able to get a piece of it and doink it back toward the backstop here. Plenty of room behind home plate here at Red Wilson Field, kind of similar to what we saw in Harwich when we were there a couple of days ago. Certainly more than what we've got at Stony Brook Field, the Whitecaps home field with such little space behind home plate. 0-2 is the count. And here comes the pitch. Just misses outside, makes the count 1-2. Both of these teams come into this ball game with identical records, 12-10-1, and the tie fittingly was against each other. It was the last time the Whitecaps were here A 7-7 draw. Waiting on a 1-2. Here it comes. It's fouled away. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brewster so far has struggled on the road this season. They are 3-6-1 when away from Stony Brook Field so far this year. And before they got that win on the 4th of July at Harwich, they hadn't had a win on the road since their second game of the season in Hyannis on June 15th. Quite a gulf. 1-2 pitch is grounded foul right side. Going on the pitch was Connor Smith, but he'll have to turn back. And again, Kyle Datris, who's making Bubic work early, will wait on a 1-2 pitch. Aside from the wind, it's perfect weather for baseball today. The sky is clear. It's quite sunny. Datris digging in from the right side. Holding the set now is Chris Bubic, runner on first base, and nobody out. Just underway here. No score, top of the first. And here comes the 1-2. Hit on the ground, foul, left side. That one probably got the best wood on it out of any of the pitches that Datris has spoiled so far in this ball game. But again, was just a little bit out in front and ripped it foul past the glancing third baseman Koss. And the count is still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bubic staring in. Now holding the set. Checking the runner at first base and will throw over there to first. Check on Connor Smith. Bubic was Stanford's Friday night starter this past spring. Had a 2.79 ERA in 15 starts on the mound through 90 1/3 innings. So like Brewster starter J.R. McDermott, was definitely worked this past spring. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's hit hard into right field, and that one's going to get foul down the line, so we'll do it again with the count 1-2. So far on the season for Bubic, this is start number 4 on the year for him. He's got a 2.16 ERA in 16 2/3 innings pitched. He's walked 5 and struck out 12. Here comes the 1-2. Nope, they're going to go over to first base. We'll do that again. 1-2 still the count on Kyle Datris. Connor Smith aboard at first. Always a threat to run. Connor Smith has kind of made his living as just a pesky guy to deal with, both on the base paths and at the plate so far this year for Brewster. Here comes the 1-2. Runner's going. The pitch is outside, but throw down to second base is in time. They got him. A terrific throw behind the plate from Casala. Nails Connor Smith at second. The first time that Connor Smith has been tagged out stealing all season. And that's the first out of the game.
Well, Casala got him there by a considerable amount. Considering how speedy Connor Smith is, that throw was a perfect one from behind the plate.
Yeah, didn't get a great jump on that play, I don't think, did Connor Smith. The count is now even 2-2 on Datris. Base is empty now with 1 gone. The 2-2 is grounded foul, left side. This time, Koss, the third baseman, perhaps just to get his legs loose, will go and try and backhand the ball in foul ground. But it is foul nonetheless, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes on Datris. Datris had a slow start at the plate when he first arrived with Brewster, but has been heating up recently. 2-2 is the count. Here's the pitch. Hit hard on the ground, right side, fielded over there by the second baseman Horner. He will flip over to first for out number 2. So Datris loses the battle after fouling off pitch after pitch. It's a hard ground ball to second, and a tricky hop there for Horner at second, but he manages to make the play. So that's the second out of this ball game. And now here comes Michael Curry, who is the DH on Jamie Shevchik's lineup card in this ball game. We saw him at catcher the last time Brewster was in YD. Here comes the pitch to the righty. It's a curveball that misses inside. And the count is 1-0 on Curry. Curry so far this season, a .304 average, .468 on base percentage, 1 home run, and 10 runs driven in. The pitch to the righty. Breaking ball in there for a called strike. Curry not a fan of the call. And the count is even now, 1 ball and 1 strike. I mentioned Jeff January is behind the plate. He was behind the plate back in Orleans. That was on July 2nd. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball hit on the ground to third base. Koss scoops it up and throws across the diamond. It's a low throw, but it's picked nicely by Rivas, and that retires the side. So Curry is retired 5-3. The Whitecaps get the 1 hit, but Bubic winds up facing the minimum in the first inning. No runs, a hit, no one left. We're through a half inning of play. Brewster nothing, and the Red Sox coming to bat. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Back in South Yarmouth, and J.R. McDermott is ready to start the bottom of the first. He deals, and it's hit high in the air off the bat of Nico Horner out to center field. Moving back is the center fielder Costas, and it's over the wall for a home run. The first pitch that J.R. McDermott throws in this game is taken long by Nico Horner. His fourth home run of the year that ties him for the team lead, and just like that, Maura, it is 1-0 Red Sox.
Well, that one was out to dead center there. Marty Costas didn't really have a chance on that one. As we said, the wind blowing very hard, but this is J.R. McDermott's last game in a Whitecaps uniform, and not quite the start you wanted there.
Just 352 out to dead center here at Red Wilson Field. And with that win, like you were saying, more, it makes you prone to giving up homers like that. Here's Kyle Isbell hitting from the left side, and he takes the pitch up high. Nico Horner's 13th run driven in on the season. That's already the first on this YD Red Sox club. In first place in that category. 1-0 pitch coming along to Isbell. It's hit high in the air, a mile-high pop fly above the second base bag. Moving over and calling everybody off is the shortstop Smith, and he will make the catch for out number one. Isbell just got right underneath that one. Smith wound up straddling the second base bag before he came down with the baseball. And now the three-hitter Alex McKenna comes up. Mar, we were in the dugout before the game began with Coach Shevchik, and they've got the spray charts for all these YD Red Sox hitters posted on the wall, and McKenna's was probably the most impressive of them all, just in that it was spread out to all fields where he puts the baseball. He's a righty hitter, and he takes an opening breaking ball low. The count is 0-1 on Alex McKenna. Hitting .356 on the year is the YD right fielder, .402 on base percentage, no homers, 9 runs batted in. The pitch misses up high, so the count 2 balls and no strikes now. For McDermott, I was gonna talk about how he has been prone to the long ball this season before he gave up a long ball to start things off. 2-0 pitch coming along. Here it comes. It's fouled back to the screen. It's 1-0 Red Sox now, bottom one. McDermott has a good repertoire for a starter. 4 pitches, a 4-seamer, a slider, a curveball, and a changeup. But none of them are really any pitch that he'll blow hitters away with. Doesn't have like someone like Chris Bubic. He's got his changeup that he'll use as his out pitch. J.R. McDermott doesn't really have a pitch like that. Here comes the 2-1. It's a slider that misses for they can make the count 3-1. So for McDermott, it's about getting ahead in counts and commanding that fastball so he can put himself in good situations. That's what he's looking for. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. And the right-hander takes the fastball in there for strike number 2. To bring the count full now on Alex McKenna. McKenna out of Cal Poly, the 3-2 pitch to the righty misses low for ball 4. So McKenna works a walk. That is walk number 7 allowed by J.R. McDermott this season in 22 and 2/3 innings. And so McKenna will reach, and now it's Alfonso Rivas' turn. Rivas, who will be digging in from the left side, has really been heating up over the past week or so. Put up some eye-popping numbers at Arizona in the spring, and then just took some time to adjust to the wood bat. Runner on first base, 1 out. Runner's going, the pitch is swung and grounded to the left side and threw into left field for a base hit. Moving over to third base and getting in there safely is Alex McKenna. Connor Smith had to move to second to cover a possible throw, and that was a ground ball to straightaway short that he would have otherwise fielded. So a bit of good fortune there for YD, and they've got first and third with a man out. Now here comes Carlos Cortez, one of the most dangerous hitters in this YD lineup. Another player who had some great numbers in the spring with South Carolina, a rising sophomore, originally from Florida. First and third and 1 out. It is 1-0 Red Sox in the bottom of the first. The pitch misses up high. And the count 1-0 as McDermott again failing to throw strike 1 here. Rivas on second base is 1 out of 2 stealing bags. If you're wondering with the first and third situation if they might send him, 1-0 pitch. Fastball in there for a strike at the knees. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike on Carlos Cortez. And the consensus freshman All-American digging in, trying to get another run driven in. Already has 7 RBI this season, has 1 home run. That came against these Whitecaps. The 1-1 pitch. Checked his swing on a ball that was low. They will appeal, and he did not go. So says Frank Auditory, who is positioned over at second at the moment. 2-1 is the count. That home run was a lot like the home run we saw from Horner earlier this inning to give YD their 1-0 lead. It was just a line shot over the wall in center field. Probably didn't go a particularly long way. 2-1 pitch, runner bluffs, and it's fouled back to the screen to bring the count to 2-2. Staying where he is Rivas. And for Brewster, I'm sure they remember the play that Scott Pickler's team ran on them when we were here during that first game, that 7-7 draw. They ran that, bluff it for the runner on second and send the runner on third home play. But a different catcher behind the plate here today. It was Michael Curry as the backstop for Brewster in that ball game. Now Justin Coons is behind the plate this evening. 2-2 is the count. The pitch to the lefty. It's a breaking ball that misses upstairs to bring the count full with 1 man out. Whitecaps third baseman Datris is in even with the baseline, it looks like, to maybe guard a possible squeeze. Scott Pickler is notorious for doing that, or calling a squeeze play in a spot like this. 3-2 is the count. Here comes the pitch. Runner is going, and it's fouled back to the screen. It is some late movement there from the runner on first, Alfonso Rivas, and he will retreat to the bag with the count still 3 balls and 2 strikes on Carlos Cortez, who comes into the game hitting .301 with a .361 on-base percentage. Here comes the 3-2. Runner's going again, and it's in there, called strike 3. They stop throw to first base, and he's safe at first. Infante thought he had him. He was running into the dugout, but first base umpire Jeff Merzel says he is safe. Diving back was Rivas. It's still a strikeout for McDermott, his first of the ball game, and now it's Christian Koss's turn. Looked like got Cortez looking on a fastball there, so McDermott able to win that battle. So far, YD doing a good job of extending at-bats against J.R. McDermott here in this first inning. The Red Sox lead 1-0, bottom 1 on a home run from Horner on the game's first pitch from McDermott. And the pitch is just a bit low to Christian Koss, who's hitting from the right side. Koss at third base today for YD, hitting .385 on the season. A .429 on base percentage, 1 home run, 6 runs driven in. 1-0 the count. Here comes the pitch from McDermott. It misses up high. So 2-0. It doesn't seem like McDermott has been able to get himself into good counts early on in this ball game. That's something that's so important for his game, and something that he's done so well up to this point this season. 2-0 is the count. McDermott holding the set, and the righty deals. Fastball misses. in the eyes of Jeff January to make the count 3-0. On deck is Drew Mendoza for the YD Red Sox. 3-0 is the count. And here comes the pitch. In there for a called strike on the inside corner. Don't think Koss liked that call particularly. As he twisted a bit, thinking the baseball might come in and grab him perhaps. Koss, the rising sophomore from UC Irvine, only hit 180 for the Anteaters this past spring. One of 3 UC Irvine ball players on the Cape this year. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. It misses low and outside for ball 4. So the bases are loaded on McDermott's second walk of this game.
The designated hitter from Florida State, number 22, Drew Mendoza.
And up steps Drew Mendoza out of Florida State University, hitting from the left side. And a big spot in this game early. Whitecaps were able to pitch a shutout in yesterday's game, get the 1-0 win over Falmouth. Already that ship has sailed here tonight. Nico Horner hit a home run to straightaway center field to start off the bottom of the first, and it's 1-0 YD. The pitch misses low to the lefty Mendoza, who's the DH on Scott Pickler's lineup card today. Hitting .208 on the season, .269 on base percentage, still waiting for his first RBI. 1-0 is the count. Bases are full of Red Sox. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Fastball too fast for him. And 1-1 is the count on Drew Mendoza. Kind of made him look silly there. Almost got down on one knee on that follow through. And winced a tab before digging back in. 1 ball, 1 strike. McDermott gets the sign he likes from Justin Coons. And here comes the pitch. Checks his swing on a ball in the dirt, and he didn't go all the way around. So the count is 2-1 on Mendoza. Mendoza was a top 50 prospect in the draft last year in 2016. Was reportedly asking for a hefty signing bonus, wound up being drafted in the 36th round. 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Looks like McDermott fooled him again. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Mendoza. Bases are loaded, full of Red Sox here. It's 1-0 YD, bottom 1. Here comes the pitch. And it misses low and outside to bring the count full. So that's going to start the merry-go-round. Everybody will be going with the bases loaded and the count full with 2 outs. Big spot here early on for McDermott. Never want to turn a one-run inning, a solo home run. There's that old saying that the solo homers won't hurt you if you give them up. You don't want to compound it for McDermott, as he'll run through the signs again, it looks like, with Justin Coons, and now they're on the same page, and McDermott is ready. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Hit hard on the ground to second base. Fielding it over there is Malfetta. He throws to first base in time to retire his side. So McDermott gives up the leadoff home run to Horner and then works out of a bases-loaded jam in the bottom of the first inning. For the YD Red Sox in this first frame, 1 run on a pair of hits, and they leave the bases loaded. We're through 1 full inning of play, and the Red Sox lead 1-0. You're listening to Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations in Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent care. Here's Marty Costas. He takes a pitch in there for a called strike from Chris Bubic. We're starting the top of the second inning. Bubic faced the minimum 3 in the first. Connor Smith got a leadoff single, but then was caught stealing second, and a couple of ground balls finished things up. It's 1-0 YD. The pitch to the righty Costas misses down and in. That one run coming in on a solo home run from Nico Horner off of J.R. McDermott. The very first pitch that J.R. McDermott threw. Here comes the 1-1. Hit hard into left field. That one is going to be dropping in front of the left fielder, Carlos Cortez, for a base hit. That was a bullet out to left field for Marty Costas, and the Whitecaps have their second hit of the game.
47, Julian Infante.
And now here comes Julian Infante, who will dig in from the right side, as will every hitter in this Brewster Whitecaps starting lineup today against Chris Bubic. It's 8 righties and a switch hitter, Devin Foyle, for Brewster. No Mickey Gasper in the lineup again for the Whitecaps. Coons is catching, and Curry is the DH. Runner on first base with nobody out. The pitch to the right-hander is in there for a strike. And the count is 0-1 on Infante, who comes into this game with a .211 average, but it's pretty deceptive because the hits that he has gotten have meant a lot since he's arrived here on this Brewster Whitecaps team. Has 4 hits and 3 of them drove in runs. He has 5 RBI total on the season. As they'll check Costas at first base, he dives back in time. The count is 0-1. We saw a lot of that from Costas in yesterday's game when he was able to reach base, drawing a lot of attention. Yesterday it was the Falmouth Commodores pitchers, and today it's Bubic on the mound for YD. 0-1 is the count on the righty swinging Infante, and the lefty deals. It's hit high in the air center field. Coming in is the center fielder Isbell, and he will make the catch in shallow center field. And that's out number 1, as Isbell had to race in quite a ways out from straightaway center, moving to his left a bit as well, but he puts it away for out number 1. So here comes Zach Gehagen. You heard in the intro for the lineup, if you were listening to us right before we came on and before the game began, he says he plays every position on the field. And today he is playing left field for Brewster. Gehagen, Costas, and Foyle left to right in the Brewster outfield. Pitch to the right-hander. In there for a called strike. I mentioned before that Jeff January was behind the plate in that game in Orleans on July 2nd. And the Whitecaps were not a fan of his zone. There were a lot of disputed calls in that ball game. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Nope, they're going to go to first. Pretty interesting move to first from a left-hander Bubic, wouldn't you say, Maura?
Absolutely, and also because Marty Costas only has 1 stolen base on the year, not a guy known for stealing. He is pretty quick, though. We see him in center field today.
0-1 the count on Gehagen. The pitch to the righty. Runner is going. The throw down to second base is not in time. It's a stolen base for Marty Costas. The pitch was up high, and Marty Costas got a terrific jump and slides into second base safely with, as you said, Maura, his second stolen base in as many tries this season. So deserving of the attention was Costas, but he's able to get across. So runner in scoring position now with 1 out for Brewster. They trail 1-0 in the top of the second. The pitch to Gehagen, swing and a miss. Just swung over that curveball, makes the count 1-2 on the UNC Tar Heel. Gehagen still getting his timing right since arriving on the Cape, hitting 120 on the season, 267 on base percentage. No RBIs to speak of. 1-2 is the count. Runner on second base and 1 out. Bubic checks the runner Costas, staring him down, and now is going to step off the pitcher's mound, or the rubber. Makes the count 1-2 still. And Costas will once again take his lead. He is taking a pretty aggressive lead out there at second base, is Marty Costas. Here comes the 1-2. Swing and a miss, he got him. Zach Gehagen goes down swinging again. And that's out number 2 here in the second.
The catcher
That's the first strikeout for Bubic. Looked like that was another curveball. And now it's Justin Coons' turn with a runner in scoring position and 2 out. And with Brewster trailing in this game 1-0, this is the sort of opportunity that they'd like to take advantage of. Left 12 runners on in that 1-0 win over the Commodores yesterday. Holding the set is Bubic. Checking Costas at second base. Here comes the pitch to Coons. And the righty takes it. Another off-speed pitch up. 1-0 the count. We've seen a lot of junk so far from Chris Bubic. The curveball and the signature changeup. Fastball's not going to get, as I said, 90 is about where it'll top out. He can have some sink on that fastball if he slows it down a little bit more. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Out in front of that one was Justin Coons. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. That's that changeup that Chris Bubic is known for. Coons thought he had a meatball and wound up taking a rip at it, but could not get any contact. Came up empty. The Red Sox ahead 1-0 on a homer from Horner. We're in the top of the second inning with Costas on second and 2 out. The pitch in there for a called strike. And the count is 1-2. Costas got on via a leadoff single and stole second. He's done all the work, looking for some help. Justin Coons this year hitting .256, .314 on base percentage. Just have a home run. That was at Stony Brook Field. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. In there, called. Strike 3. Got him with a fastball, and Coons shakes his head and says a couple of words to the home plate ump, Jeff January, as he walks back to the dugout. But back-to-back Ks for Chris Bubic get him out of a little mini jam here in the top of the second. For the Whitecaps in the top of inning number 2, they get no runs on 1 hit, and they leave 1. We're through an inning and a half here at Red Wilson Field. 1-0 YD. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball. Here are Carter Waddell and Maura Sheridan. Welcome back to Red Wilson Field. The score is 1-0 YD here in the bottom of inning number 2. Carter Waddell and Maura Sheridan with you. Due up for Scott Pickler's club is the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, Kaiser, Casala, and Nico Horner, who so far is the YD offense. His home run in the first inning gave him this 1-0 lead. The pitch to the righty is low to Connor Kaiser, so he starts off with the count 1-0 as McDermott again can't quite throw strike 1. Make the count 1-0, and McDermott into the windup again. Here comes the pitch from the right-hander. It misses up high. So the balls and no strikes on Connor Kaiser. Kaiser hitting .273 on the season, .353 on base percentage. 1 home run has driven in 11 for the Red Sox. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Checked his swing and did not go around. So says Jeff January. 3-0 is the count. This Kaiser held up on a pitch that was just a bit outside. So 3 balls and no strikes quickly here on Connor Kaiser, the infielder out of Vandy. The 3-0 pitch in there for a called strike. Just poured that fastball right down Broadway, did J.R. McDermott. The wind is still gusting here. It's going right now, it's just out to straightaway left field, which is good news for a righty hitter like Connor Kaiser. Here comes a 3-1 pitch. And for a called strike 2, again, just kind of grooved that baseball in. So the count is full now. And McDermott trying to work his way back from a 3-0 count. And here comes the payoff pitch from the Colorado Mesa product. And it misses just a bit low for ball 4. Justin Coons did his best to frame that, but Connor Kaiser reaches with a walk. And he is, as like a lot of the other players on this Whitey Red Sox team, a threat to go. 5 out of 7 stealing bases this year.
Well, J.R. McDermott going into this game only had 6 walks on the season. He has 3 already. We're only in the 2nd inning. A very uncharacteristic day for J.R.
So now it's Mike Casala's turn. A Jacksonville University Dolphin. He's a right-handed hitter. Slotted in as the catcher for the Red Sox today. The pitch to the righty. This is down and away. Originally, our lineup card had one of the new imports for YD, Darren Trainer, as the catcher. But sometime before the game, maybe just a half hour or so before first pitch, Casala was slotted in. 1-0 is the count. Righty to righty, the pitch. It misses low, and Coons jumps out of his crouch and glares at the runner at first base, Connor Kaiser. And Coons will be jogging out to talk to McDermott. You wonder if maybe this is saying, hey, listen, we got a good base runner over at first base. I know you got to pay attention to him. We've seen more of it. Coons has been prone so far this year to jumping out of the crouch, trying to snap, throw out. He trusts his ability to throw the baseball well. And now we have a visit to the mound as well. It looks like Austin Straub is going to come out and talk to McDermott. "2-0 is the count. J.R. McDermott right now just has struggled with this command early in counts. We've said it before how important that is to him. He has done a terrific job of dictating his pace. You know, he's always a guy, if you look at him pitch, he's such a loose guy on the mound. You know, he was coming into this as a temp player, a D2 guy, coming in, as Aiden said earlier at the start of the game, a tryout position. And he kind of pitches like there's not a lot of pressure on him.
And he's a tough competitor too, J.R. McDermott. We saw him against Falmouth, asked to go out in the 7th inning. So this is a guy, he doesn't want to come out anytime soon.
Here comes the 2-0 pitch. It's in there for a strike at the knees. 2-1 is the count. You're absolutely right, Mora. That was the game where he gave up a pair of home runs. And Shevchik had originally kind of penciled him in for 6 frames. He even told us in the middle of the game that was what he was going to do. And then J.R. McDermott changed his mind, came out and worked out of a jam in the 7th inning of that ball game. Brewster wound up dropping that game 7-1. McDermott took the loss in that game. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. McDermott holding the set. Runner on first base. And nobody out. The pitch. Swing and a miss. And the count is 2-2, and taking a walk around the circle and behind home plate up Jeff January to try and reset is Mike Casala. The Red Sox are ahead 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. 12-10-1 are both of these teams tied for 2nd in the East Division behind the Orleans Firebirds, who sit at 15-8. Here comes the 2-2. Runners going for second. The pitch misses outside, but throw down to second base will not be in time. Got a great jump, did Connor Kaiser, and he got his 6th stolen base of the season. And now the count is full on Casala. We've seen how Scott Pickler is not afraid to put the game in motion, and that time it works. So the leadoff walk now turns into a runner in scoring position. The count is full on Casala. Holding the set now is McDermott. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's fouled right back into the mask of the home plate ump, Jeff January, who whips off the mask but looks like he's going to be fine. That one just thumped right into it. Just barely got a piece of the baseball, did Casala. Casala, a rising junior from St. Augustine, Florida. He's listed as a pitcher on this YD roster and certainly had plenty of high school glory days as a pitcher. Through 10 innings of 1-run ball in a state semifinal game. That was his kind of crowning moment on the mound. Walked 1 and struck out 13 in that game. 3-2 is the count. The pitch. Hit high in the air. Shallow left field coming in a bit is the Whitecap left fielder Gehagen, moving to his right, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Gehagen looked like he had a beat on that ball all the way through. So Casala again puts up a battle, but winds up flying out to left. And now here comes Nico Horner, the righty hitting second baseman, who so far today is our offense. He is the scoring for this ball game. He rocketed the first pitch he saw in the bottom of the first inning over the short wall in dead center field to make it 1-0 YD. Runner on second base here with one out. That is still where we stand here with the Red Sox ahead 1-0. Horner before that home run was hitting .305 on the year. McDermott is ready. Checks the runner at second and deals. A slow breaking ball dropped in there for strike number one. Bit of a crafty call there from McDermott, deciding to go with the curveball, but it gets him ahead in the count 0-1. Now kind of has the fastball in his back pocket. When you start somebody off with a slow looper like that, your low 90s fastball all of a sudden looks a lot faster. The 0-1 pitch is hit hard, but foul right side. Didn't look like Horner got the best wood on that, and he's behind the count 0-2. Horner starting today at second base for the YD Red Sox. That's his natural position, but he was a shortstop this spring for Stanford primarily. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. In there, called strike three at the knees. J.R. McDermott gets his second strikeout. Both of them were fastballs that were taken for strikes. That's out number two here in the bottom of the second.
Number 2, Kyle Isbell.
And now it's Kyle Isbell's turn. McDermott trying to avoid having the leadoff walk come in and bite him. So often that happens with pitchers. It was Kaiser who drew the walk. He stole second, and that's where he remains. Isbell, a lefty hitter. Here comes the pitch. It's in there for a called strike. A fastball there for strike one. And McDermott able to get ahead in the count once more here, with a runner on second base and two out. Kyle Isbell hit a high pop fly that was caught by the shortstop Smith above the second base bag his first time up in this game. He's 0 for 1. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Another fastball. This one just misses the plate. Makes the count 1-1. Couple of shots from the dugout, but they thought that was a good pitch there from McDermott. 1-1 is the count. He checks the runner again as the Colorado Mesa product and deals, and the pitch is in the dirt. Coons whips off his mask, but he keeps the baseball in front of him. The count is 2-1, and that's the sort of play that Justin Coons has excelled at, especially when you're talking about where he is in relation to the rest of the team. It was a fastball low, could have very easily just scored it right through his 5-hole, but he was able to knock it down. 2-1 the count. Here comes the pitch. Another one that skips low, and Coons gloves it this time to bring the count 3-1. So McDermott throws strike one on the fastball and then misses with his next three offerings to make the count 3-1. Red Sox trying to add to their 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the second inning. McDermott gets the sign he likes, holds the set, and is ready here. Here comes the 3-1. Hit high in the air, another high pop fly. This one right over the pitcher's mound. Looks like the third baseman Datris is going to run over there and make the catch right behind the mound. Had to navigate it a bit, and the sun as well. But he does come down with it moving to his left, and that's the final out of the second inning. So the leadoff walk does not come back to haunt J.R. McDermott. No runs, no hits, and one left for YD in the second. We're through 2, 1-0 Red Sox. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Welcome back to Red Wilson Field in South Yarmouth. Brewster trailing YD 1-0. We're starting the third inning here in a game that's moving pretty quickly. It's 8-9-1 for Brewster, Malfetta, Foyle, and Smith. And the righty from Stanford takes a breaking ball in there for a strike at the knees. An opening curveball from Chris Bubic, who has not been afraid to throw that curveball in fastball counts so far in this game. And it's been working pretty well for him. 0-1 is the count on Malfetta. And here comes the pitch from a left-hander. Another curveball, and it's taken for a strike. Malfetta was showing bunt. Looked like he was going to try and drag bunt that. The third baseman, Koss, is in to guard a possible bunt. But he wound up taking it, and it was in there for a strike. So misjudging that there was Christian Malfetta. And here comes the 0-2 pitch. Fastball misses up high, makes the count 1-2. Malfetta hitting .276 on the season, .313 on base percentage, no home runs, and 4 runs driven in, getting the start at second here today. He's kind of just been used as a platoon infielder for Jamie Shevchik as he hits the 1-2 pitch high in the air, foul ground right side, and it will get out of play. So we'll do it again with the count 1-2. Been really impressed with Chris Bubic's arsenal, the way he uses his pitches so far. He's had an excellent season for YD coming into this game with a .216 ERA. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to the right-hander. Swing and a miss, he got him. Fastball that was too fast. When you throw a guy a breaking ball and a changeup at the beginning of an at-bat, that fastball was probably 89, 90, but it was plenty fast, Maura.
And Bubic winning that Stanford v. Stanford battle against Christian Malfetta, his teammate. They're both Cardinals over in Palo Alto, California.
That tells you something when a guy who already knows what the guy pitches, already knows kind of what Bubic's game is, still as full at the plate was Malfetta. Here's Foyle, and Foyle grounds it foul to start his at-bat off. A switch hitter hitting from the right side against the lefty Chris Bubic. It's 1-0 YD here in the top of the third. Nobody on and 1 out for the Whitecaps. And here comes the 0-1 pitch to Foyle. It's hit hard in the air, out to left field. Moving back is Carlos Cortez. He's heading back to the wall, and he makes the catch a couple of steps from that left field wall. Backtracking all the way there was the South Carolina product as Foyle put a charge into that one, but it is a loud out number 2. And now we're back to the top of the Brewster lineup. Just 2 hits in this game for Brewster the first time through the order against Chris Bubic. One of them came from Connor Smith, who digs in now. Smith led off the game with a single, but then was caught stealing to cancel it out. Here comes the pitch to the right-hander. It misses way high on a fastball. 1-0 the count on Connor Smith. The guy, the coaching staff, would just say he just gets knocks, does Connor Smith. Just gets on base, 1-0 pitch. Misses low, so the count 2-0. Koss, the third baseman, was in again to guard the bunt, now has taken a couple of steps back after the first couple offerings from Bubic. And here comes the 2-0 pitch. It's fouled back to the screen to make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Smith hitting just .288 on the season. We're still waiting on our first extra base hit from Connor Smith this year. The pitch is in there for a strike. 2-2 now the count. That was another fastball from Bubic. So he falls behind 2-0 and is able to recover to even the count at 2-2. Looking for a 1-2-3 frame here is the Stanford lefty. And here comes the 2-2 pitch. Hit on the ground, right side. The fielded on the backhand by the second baseman, Horner. He throws to first for the out. Nicely done by Nico Horner. Had to field that one off of another tricky hop, but recovers and fires across. And the Whitecaps go down in order in the third inning. It's now 6 straight retired on the mound for Bubic. At the end of 2.5, it's 1-0 Red Sox on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. The Sacred Cod Tavern at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa is a quintessential New England dining experience for lunch or dinner. A proud member of leading hotels of the world. And a proud member of the YD Red Sox, Alex McKenna, will dig in from the right side. YD protecting a 1-0 advantage. We're starting the bottom of the third, and McDermott is back on the mound to start his third inning of work for Brewster. Righty to righty. Here comes the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch that misses just a bit up high to make the count 1-0. Looked like there wasn't just quite enough bite on that breaking ball there from McDermott. And the righty ahead in the count. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Shows bunt and bunts it foul down the left side. It will stay foul before it's picked up by the third baseman, Kyle Datris. So the count 1-1 on McKenna. McKenna, one of 3 YD hitters to draw a walk against McDermott in the first couple of innings. Walked in the first inning and then was left stranded at third base after McDermott got Mendoza to ground out with the bases loaded. To finish that first frame, here comes the 1-1 pitch from the right-hander. It's a high chopper toward the middle. The shortstop Smith will run over and field it. He has to double clutch, and he won't get the throw in time. That double clutch might have been the difference there for Connor Smith as the speedy Alex McKenna beats out the infield hit. And he's now reached base twice in as many plate appearances in this ball game. Now Alfonso Rivas will dig in. Alfonso Rivas the third properly out of Arizona with the runner on first base. And nobody out. The one run that has scored in this ball game so far was a home run from Nico Horner in the first inning. Rivas is a left-handed hitter. The pitch fouled right back to the screen. That was fouled straight back, and Rivas shakes his head for a minute. You know that a guy had his timing perfect when he fouls one just straight back to the screen, but just couldn't quite get the barrel on it. 0-1 is the count on Rivas, who singled his first time up. McDermott holds the set, and he will throw over to first base. And the count 0-1. As we mentioned, Scott Plickler loves to run. This YD team with 37 stolen bases now on the season, which is second in the Cape League. 0-1 the count. Here comes the pitch to the lefty. Swung on it high in the air out to center field. Costas retreating. He's on his horse over back toward the wall. Near the wall, he leaps, and it's over the wall for a home run. Alfonso Rivas takes J.R. McDermott deep to center field. A 2-run shot. That is his second of the season, and YD now leads 3-0.
Well, that was almost deja vu there. That was exactly like Nico Horner's home run. Just to center field a shot, as we mentioned. It's not a big field here at Red Wilson Field, and wow. As we J.R. McDermott, prone to the long ball, and we've already seen it twice today, kind of like we did at Falmouth in late June.
And it's tough because that's, again, out to the shortest part of the ballpark, 352 out in center field. Not the shortest part technically, but in terms of where it is relative to the other ballparks you're going to find. Here's Carlos Cortez. He takes a fastball up high. Boy, it sure looked like the center fielder Costas at least maybe thought that he had a chance to bring that baseball in. He was moving back. He was holding out his hand to find out where the wall was. He leaped for it, but it was well over his head. 1-0 pitch is it high in the air, a mile high out to shallow left field. Gehagen is racing in from left, and he's called off by the shortstop Smith, who makes the catch out in shallow left field. Smith reaching out, almost a backhand, and Gehagen will give him a pat on the behind as he goes back to his position, and that is the first out of the bottom of the third. Really had to cover a ton of ground, did Connor Smith, but saw the baseball and was able to grab it. I'm sure the wind didn't do him any favors. It's blowing still out to left field. And now here is Christian Koss. Righty to righty again. Here comes the pitch. Shows bunt, takes the pitch low. Another off-speed pitch from McDermott as Datris is in guarding the bunt, even with the baseline at third base for Brewster. 1-0 is the count. And here comes the pitch from McDermott. Swing and a miss. Not in front of that one was Christian Koss, who drew a walk his first time up. Count now 1-1. It is 3-0 YD here in the bottom of the third. All the runs we've seen today coming in via the long ball. In fact, all the runs we've seen today are over the center field wall. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike on the outside corner. That was well located from J.R. McDermott. Hit the spot that Justin Coons was holding up. 1-2 the count. McDermott looking for his third strikeout of the ball game. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball cut on and missed. Strike 3. That one dropped in the dirt. Looked like he got some late movement on that breaking pitch, and Christian Koss goes down swinging. There are 2 gone.
Hitter from Florida State, number 22, Drew Mendoza.
So now it is Drew Mendoza's turn. The 3 strikeouts that McDermott has gotten, 2 strikeout looking on the fastball, and that time fooling Christian Koss with the curveball, which he says he likes to do against righties. Likes to use his changeup a little bit more against left-handed hitters. Here comes Drew Mendoza, a left-handed hitter, and the first pitch is a curveball in there for a strike. Just dropping that one in there. Looks like McDermott is pretty content to start out with the off-speed stuff, almost like Chris Bubich on the other side, the starter for YD. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and it misses low in the dirt to even the count up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mendoza hit a ground ball to second to end that first inning. Got McDermott out of a bases-loaded jam his first time up. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Out in front of that. Now there's that changeup I was talking about. So 1-2 is the count. Nobody on with 2 men out here in the bottom of the third. 2 runs already in for YD on the homer from Rivas. And here comes the 1-2 pitch. It misses low in the dirt to bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes on Drew Mendoza. Mendoza digging in from the left side. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's a breaking ball in there for a called strike 3. Mendoza thought that was up above the letters, but Jeff January rings him up. So back-to-back strikeouts on the curveball. Finish things up for J.R. McDermott, but he does surrender a pair of runs here in the bottom of the third inning on 2 hits. The 1 big hit, the home run from Rivas, his second of the season. And at the end of 3, it's 3-0 Red Sox. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Two, 3, and 4 all due up for the Brewster Whitecaps to start out the top of the 4th inning. Brewster down 3-0 after a pair of long balls from this Whitey squad. As Carter said, both just to dead center and got over the head of Marty Costas over the fence to make this a 3-zip game. First pitch from Bubich into Costas is a breaking ball that doesn't quite bite for ball 1. The 1-0, this one low and just misses outside for ball 2, so Kyle Datris getting ahead in the count 2-0. The third baseman in his first at-bat grounded out to second. The 2-0 swung on and hit high. This one a high pop fly. It's the first baseman Rivas calling for it, and he'll make the grab. Stumbling a little bit behind him is Rivas, but able to make the catch for out number 1.
Well, we sure have seen a clinic today on how to catch a pop fly, haven't we, Maura? We've seen a bunch of sky-high pop flies from both teams. That was the 4th off the bat of a YD player so far in this game.
And a lot of infield pop flies, too, ones that we've seen infielders getting. We saw Connor Smith get a couple at short today. Here comes the first pitch to Michael Curry, and that will get a piece of him. Looks like it Curry on the lower arm. He just kind of turned into that one, and he'll take first on a hit by a pitch. Curry seems unfazed, though. Totally shook it off and took his bag, and here comes Marty Costas, one of 2 players for the Whitecaps to get a hit today on Bubic. Marty singled in the second inning and then was able to steal second, but was left stranded after a pair of strikeouts from Bubic. Here comes the first pitch. That one high, a fastball that misses upstairs for ball 1. Julian Infante on deck for the Whitecaps. Marty Costas up to bat. And Costas will foul the next pitch. Running is Alex McKenna out in right field. And he's able to make the grab in foul territory to get Marty Costas out. A big out there for Bubic because, as we were talking about before, this is a small park, and Marty Costas, one of the guys in the lineup here without Chandler Taylor, without Mickey Gasper, a guy that we know and have seen go yard. So Marty Costas goes down. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Michael Curry still at first on a hit by a pitch, and here comes Julian Infante for the Whitecaps. First pitch to Infante, a swing and a miss for strike 1. Julian Infante had a pop up to center field today. The wind didn't quite take that one. Waiting on the 0-1, staring in is Bubic. Michael Curry has a tiny lead over there at first, and the 0-1 misses upstairs for ball 1. Curry a catcher, and as we've said before, runs like one, not one to try to steal. The Whitecaps have tried to steal 2 bases today. Were successful on the Marty Costas one, and Connor Smith was thrown out in the first inning trying to steal second. The 1-1, that one's hit hard into left field and will bounce fair, so Julian Infante rounds first. And the throw to third doesn't quite make it in time. A nice throw there from Cortez, but that one misses, and Curry moves to third while Julian Infante gets a double.
That was a risky play from Michael Curry. We can call it that, from that nice throw out there in left field from Carlos Cortez. It was well off line. And if it had been on line toward third base, it would have been an awfully close play, I think, with Michael Curry. You never want to make the third out at third, as they say, but able to get in, and now it's 2 runners in scoring position.
And Zach Hagan now up to bat for Brewster with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. Hagan struck out in his first at-bat. First pitch to him is just above the lettering for ball 1. Hagan is struggling so far in the Cape League, batting just .120. The 1-0 is missed by Hagan for strike 1. And in talking to Jamie Shevchik, this is a guy that he really hates to see struggle. A true leader is Zach Hagan. Yesterday we saw him call a little powwow before the game, trying to pump up his teammates. Just a guy that's always talking in the dugout, always supporting these Brewster Whitecaps. Here comes the 1-1. That one misses upstairs for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike to the UNC Tar Heel. Runners on second and third. It's Julian Infante on second and Michael Curry 90 feet away from the plate. A breaking ball gets Gahagan for strike 2. Some good movement there that just kind of froze Gahagan from Bubic. So the count evens 2-2 to today's left fielder for the Whitecaps. Here comes the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. He'll get Gahagan look So the Whitecaps will leave Infante and Curry stranded. One hit for the Whitecaps in this inning. No runs come home. We're through 3.5, and the score is still 3-0. YD on top of Brewster. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Connor Kaiser digging in for YD. He's the number 8 hitter today for the Red Sox. Here comes the first pitch from J.R. McDermott, still on the mound. That's a breaking ball in for strike 1. Kaiser walked in his first at-bat against McDermott. 0-1 is swung on and hit right to shortstop. Connor Smith moving and makes a throw on the move, and Julian Infante isn't able to dive out of the way. That throw was way out of Infante's reach. So Kaiser will be safe.
And a good job by Justin Coons on that play, which I think they're going to give him a hit for. He wound up backing up that play, racing over from first base. And that's the big thing, because we've seen a bunch of throws from the left side of the Whitecaps infield get lost and then wind up in the dugout or in the bullpen and then wind up out of play, giving the runner an extra base. And that time, Coons able to back it up.
So with a runner on first, Mike Casala comes as the runner. Kaiser tried to steal second, but a foul there from Casala will send Kaiser back to first base. As we've talked about, a very aggressive team on the base paths is this YD Red Sox squad, as Julian Infante runs in to have a quick word with J.R. McDermott before the 0-1 pitch to Casala. The score's 3-0. YD on top of Brewster in the bottom of the 4th inning. J.R. McDermott with the 0-1. Shows bunt. Does Casala. And Kaiser is able to just jog over to second as Justin Coons, that one kind of bounced off what looked like his knee and went down the third base line. So Casala able to take second, no problem. So a runner in scoring position again for this Red Sox squad.
Yeah, that's a wild pitch, and that just bounced right in front of the plate and off of the chest protector for Coons. Not a ton he could have done. That was just a breaking ball that thumped right in front of the plate. Command for J.R. McDermott hasn't been as great as I think we've seen earlier this season. As I'm being told, Will Tribuker is warming up in the Brewster pen.
1 ball and 1 strike to the number 9 hitter for the Red Sox. J.R. McDermott staring in for Brewster. Waiting on the 1-1. McDermott swiveling his head, checking out the runner on second. He'll finally pitch the 1-1. Shows bunt. Does Casala, but then brings it back as it's a pitch that misses for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Casala got out in his first at-bat in the first inning, as in the second inning, popped up to left field. Here comes the 2-1. That's bunted up the first base line. McDermott fields it himself over to Molfetta, who was covering first base, but that will move the runner to third, so the sacrifice bunt works for the Red Sox. And now just 90 feet away is the run that would put up the Red Sox 4-0. Again, they're up 3-0 right now, and there's a meeting going on. Jamie Shevchik coming out to the mound to talk to J.R. McDermott, bringing in the entire infield for the Whitecaps. We haven't seen a signal, just having a conversation is Jamie Shevchik.
He likes to do this, doesn't he? Especially when we've seen this a couple of times this year. Maybe you can back me up here. When there's been a runner on third. A lot of times when there's a runner on third, Jamie Shevchik will come in and not just talk to the pitcher, but talk to the infield. Okay, how are we going to handle this guy? Obviously, right now, this is a very speedy runner on third base, and he knows that YD has a chance to maybe run a squeeze play or something. And as I say all of that, he's just biding time, and we just saw the signal.
Well, it looks like Will Tribuker will come in to replace J.R. McDermott. McDermott will end his time as a Brewster Whitecap. His team down 3-0. When we come back, Will Tribuker will take the mound for the Whitecaps. Stay with us. You're listening to the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back. It's going to be Will Tribuker, the Michigan Wolverine, taking over for J.R. McDermott. J.R. McDermott pitched here in the bottom of the fourth inning to just 1 out, as Nico Horner is set to bat, the leadoff hitter for the Whitey Red Sox. You got to believe that Jamie Shevchik just maybe didn't want to risk another long ball, as Nico Horner hit a homer on the first pitch he saw from J.R. McDermott today. As the leadoff hitter digs in for the Red Sox, he'll face a new pitcher, Will Tribuker, for the Whitecaps. As I mentioned, 1 out in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Infield in here for Brewster.
Runner on third, as the first pitch to Horner is in for a strike. This reminds me of a situation we saw yesterday, although the stakes are not quite as high. Robert Broom had 1 out and a runner on third, had to strike out the next batter, as the 0-1 is fouled out straight behind him by Horner, so the count moves to 0-2. And Robert Broom did just that, struck out the next batter to essentially end the game, although there was a ground out that truly did end the game, but that was a big play here. And Tribuker in a similar situation, trying to avoid the Red Sox going up 4-0. The next pitch just misses outside for ball 1. The count's 1-2 to the second baseman today for the Red Sox. As I mentioned, he did have a homer today in center field. The 1-2, a swing and a miss, so just like Robert Broom did yesterday, Tribuker able to strike out that all-important, to get that all-important second out with a runner on third. So Kyle Isabel will now dig in with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. It's Connor Kaiser on third. He got on a single and then moved on a wild pitch. First pitch is just below the knees for ball 1 to Kyle Isbell. We've seen 2 fly balls from Isbell in his 2 at-bats. One over to Connor Smith, who had to kind of back up at short. The 1-0, this one in for a strike on the inside corner. The count moves to 1-1. Waiting on the 1-1. And that one finds inside corner again for strike 2. Isbell out of UNLV, a rising junior, has the 1-2. Catches him looking. Kyle Isbell strikes out. So Tri Bucher comes in with 1 out and strikes out 2 in a row. His team still down 3-0 after 4 innings of play. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadeel and Maura Sheridan.
Well, YD is on top of Brewster 3-0 as the bottom of the Whitecaps order is set to bat in this top of the 5th inning. Chris Bubich still on the mound for the Red Sox. He has 4 strikeouts today, one of which came to the guy up to bat right now for the Whitecaps, Justin Coons, who was caught looking in his last at-bat. First pitch to Coons is in for a strike. Counts 0-1. Justin Coons playing catcher today. Here's the 0-1. That one's hit right to the second baseman, who throws it over to Rivas and is able to make the out. Justin Coons goes down for the first out of this top of the 5th inning.
Nice hands by the shortstop Kaiser on that play. It was a hard hit baseball, but he had to move to his left to go in field. And Justin Coons able to put the wood on the ball this time, but cannot get on base.
And here comes Christian Molfetta, another guy that fell victim to a strikeout from Bubich. First pitch is a breaking ball in for strike number 1 from the Stanford Cardinal. Again, he struck out his teammate Christian Molfetta the last time these two went up against each other. Another breaking ball misses outside for ball 1. The count moves to 1-1. No runners on for Brewster, 1 out. Here comes the 1-1, a swing and a miss from Molfetta. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Molfetta out of Laguna Beach. He's batting .276 so far this year. A temporary player who's capable of putting the bat on the ball. The 1-2, another breaking ball misses outside. The count evens at 2. Devin Foyle warming up. He's on deck for the Whitecaps. The 2-2, a swing and a miss, and he struck him out again. So Christian Molfetta has struck out twice today against his teammate Bubic. So 2 outs after Justin Coons also went out on a ground out, and here comes Devin Foyle.
And Molfetta's been fooled twice, one by the fastball and then there by the changeup for Bubic, so keeping him guessing.
First pitch to Foyle is hit right to shortstop Kaiser. He backhands it, makes the throw over to Rivas at first, and that's 3 out. So 3 up, 3 down for Chris Bubic. No hits, nobody left on, and no runs come through for the Whitecaps. The score is still 3-0. Whitey on top of Brewster. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps on the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
Welcome back to Red Wilson Field. Alex McKenna, Alfonso Rivas, and Carlos Cortez all due up for the Whitey Red Sox in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Red Sox are on top of the Whitecaps 3-0. A pair of long balls has propelled this lead for the Red Sox. One from Nico Horner and another one from Rivas, who is due up this inning. But right now it's Alex McKenna. First pitch to him from Tribuker is in for a strike. Counts 0-1. Tribuker came in, replaced J.R. McDermott with 1 out and a runner on third as the 0-1 misses outside. And Tribuker struck out Nico Horner and Kyle Isbell, the top of the order, to get out of that jam for the Whitecaps. The 1-1. This one misses upstairs. Ball 2 moves to 2-1. McKenna has gotten on twice today, though. One on a walk in the first inning as the 2-1 is on its way. That one hit hard, a foul ball that almost grazed the head of some of the Brewster Whitecaps in the dugout along the first base line. So the count moves to 2-2. The other time McKenna got on was in the 3rd inning. That was a base hit single. The 2-2. That one in for strike 3. So a big out there from somebody who had gotten on twice today. 3 strikeouts in a row from William Tribuker.
Yeah, you can literally not ask for any more than what Will Tribuker has done since he's entered this game. 3 batters and 3 Ks. For a guy who's kind of has a reputation as one of those workhorses, him and Paulie Milto are 2 of the guys that just sort of grind it out. He has been sharp.
Alfonso Rivas shows bunt and takes that pitch for ball 1. Again, nobody on for Rivas as strikeout there from Alex McKenna. Rivas batting 4th in the lineup today, again shows bunt. And this time, that one was a strike. Rivas not able to pull back his bat in time. Rivas playing first today for the Red Sox, and we saw him homer today as this next pitch from Tribuker misses outside on the left for ball 2. Rivas has 2 hits today, 1 a single in the first inning, and then he went yard in the third inning to give this team the 3-0 lead they've held on to since. Next pitch from Tribuker misses below the knees for ball 3.
Action in the YD bullpen right now. It looks like Tanner Graham, the righty out of UAB, is warming up.
The 3-1. This one misses upstairs, and so Tribuker ends that 3 strikeout in a row streak, and Rivas gets on a walk.
Yeah, still keeping it to the 3 true outcomes here. That was good from Rivas, though, because I don't think a lot of those pitches really were bad misses from Tribuker, and Rivas was able to keep his command of the strike zone. And boy, you know, he had a rough start to his Cape League season, but he's back to the level of production that we saw when he was over at Arizona, where he was just tearing the cover off the ball and getting on base as well.
Carlos Cortez now up to bat for YD. First pitch to him is in for a strike. Runner on first. Rivas on first. For the Red Sox, they are up on the Whitecaps 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tribuker keeping his eye on Rivas, and he'll check up on him with a throw over to Julian Infante. Rivas able to get back no problem. Didn't have a huge lead over there at first base as he steps out again. The 0-1. This one goes way behind Justin Coons. No movement from Rivas.
I think he got a piece of the bat of Cortez at the plate. Checked his swing there.
Looks like it just grazed him. So no balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Cortez. As Tribuker again checks up on Rivas. And Rivas again able to get back to the bag before the throw. Cortez has had a great season in the Cape League so far, batting .301. 22 hits as he pops one foul on the third base line. Moving is Gahagan, but that one way out of play there for the UNC Tar Heel. So the count is still 0-2. Cortez staying alive. Cortez does have 1 home run on the year, 7 RBIs. Again, a runner on first. As Tribuker checks up on him again, that's going to be 3 times the Michigan Wolverine has made that throw over to first to just make sure Rivas is not moving. There is 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning. 0-2. This one, a chopper that's hit to second base. Christian Molfetta makes the play, and over to Julian Infante for out number 2. So down goes Cortez for the 3rd time today, but that moves Rivas over to second.
The final line on J.R. McDermott, I owe it to you, after Tribuker came on to relieve him. 3 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, gave up 3 runs. All of them were earned. He walked 3, which was probably the biggest blemish on the outing for him, and 4 strikeouts. Also, of course, surrendered the 2 home runs.
And William Tribuker trying to avoid a walk coming back to haunt him as Alfonso Rivas is at second base now. He got on a walk. But 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Christian Koss is now up to bat. First pitch to him is below the knees for ball 1. Koss out of UC Irvine has the best batting average on the team at .385. He's also the youngest on the team. The 1-0. That one misses again below the knees for 2 balls and no strikes to Koss. Interesting that Koss is having such a good year as the 2-0 misses this time upstairs. And Koss goes ahead 3-0 in the count. As you mentioned, I think earlier today, Carter, he was batting just 180 at California Irvine, but was just a freshman, now rising sophomore. Settling in, maybe the wood bat is his thing. Here comes a 3-0, that one right down the middle for strike one. The count moves to 3-1. Again, runner on second.
Yeah, it's always cool when we find a hidden gem that comes out in the Cape. I mean, J.R. McDermott can fall into that category, a guy from Division II getting plucked up by the Whitecaps.
Here comes the 3-1. That one foul tipped behind him into the backstop to make the count full.
And it tells you why YD wins, so many league championships. That's how you win in this league. If you're talking about year after year, it's by finding diamonds in the rough. I mean, everybody knows where the can't miss prospects are, but it's finding the guy that's able to fill a good role on your team.
Here comes the payoff pitch. That one misses just outside for the second walk of this inning for Tribuker. He started off with a K, and then the walked two guys, Alfonso Rivas and Christian Koss. Now runners on first and second with 2 outs for Drew Mendoza. Drew Mendoza digging in for the Red Sox. YD up 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tribuker trying to avoid that lead becoming bigger as the first pitch is foul tipped right to us and to the back girl today for the Whitecaps. The count moves to 0-1. Tribuker staring in, and here comes the 0-1. That one misses low for ball 1. Mendoza hasn't got on base today. In the first inning, he grounded out right over to Christian Molfetta at second, and then in the third inning was a victim of J.R. McDermott's strikeout. Next pitch is in for strike 2 from Tribuker. Right up the middle there for William Tribuker.
Yeah, big swing and a miss from Mendoza on that pitch. Just fooled him with the speed. Does have a deceptive change in his arsenal, does the Michigan man.
The 1-2. That one, Coons tried to frame on the inside corner, but wasn't quite able to do it, so the count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. A little bit of groans from the Whitecaps fans that are here at Red Wilson Field today.
Yeah, and Will Tribuker thinks he's gotten 2 strike-3 pitches in these past couple of hitters. That 3-2 pitch to Koss, he was taking a step off the mound too, wound up being called for ball 4.
The 2-2. That one fouled high on the third base line into the trees. So Mendoza stays alive. Again, runners on first and second, so a runner in scoring position for this Red Sox squad. But Tribuker 1 strike away from ending the inning. Here comes the 2-2. That one looks like it might have got a piece of Mendoza right on the elbow. It did, so he will take first, and now the bases are loaded. That one got him right in the bone, but Mendoza's all right. So on a hit by a pitch, the bases are now loaded for Connor Kaiser.
And kind of a strange way to do it. You load the bases without getting a hit. And now for Will Tribuker, this is a situation where he just has to reset. He's been frustrated with a couple of calls from Jeff January behind the plate. It's no secret about that. I think there are other Whitecaps who are frustrated as well, but it's just like any other situation like this, what you find here on the Cape League. You just have to reset, focus on the next batter, and get what would be an important final out of this 5th inning. The Whitecaps don't want this 3-0 lead to get any bigger.
The Whitecaps only have 3 hits today, so you are absolutely right, as the first pitch to Kaiser is in for strike number 1. Kaiser got on a walk, 1 of 3 to walk on J.R. McDermott, and then had a single in the 4th inning as the 0-1 is swung on and missed by Kaiser to move the count to 0-2.
Sure looked like Tribuker just reached back a little bit for that one.
Kaiser was the runner stranded at third after Tribuker came in and struck out 2 in a row to end a jam there that J.R. McDermott had kind of left Tribuker in. Here comes 0-2. That one misses upstairs for ball 1. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases loaded. Here comes the 1-2. That one is in for a strike. That was a low pitch there from Tribuker, but caught him looking. So Will Tribuker gets out of a jam. There was no hits in that inning, yet the YD Red Sox strand 3. No runs come through. The score is still YD on top of Brewster 3-0 after 5 innings of play. You're listening to the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists, who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com. Or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
A couple of Brewster Whitecaps that we're used to seeing not in the lineup today. Our sideline reporter Aiden Doyle has more on that Jamie Shevchik decision.
Thanks, Maura. Well, obviously, like you mentioned, Connor Smith getting to start at shortstop today. Also a few other changes. Christian Molfetta at second, and then Justin Coons behind the plate. One of the reasons for that, obviously, Bubic being a left-handed pitcher against guys like Hunter Bishop, Nick Dunn, AJ Graffinino, all left-handed batters, so it's tougher for them to face the lefty. So he gets the righties in the lineup, but he says, you know, this is a time where guys deserve to be playing. You can't really hold them out of lineup for 5 consecutive days, so just a perfect storm.
Thanks, Aiden, as Connor Smith hits one over to the second baseman, and Rivas able to make the catch there, and down goes the leadoff hitter for the Whitecaps with 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. The Red Sox on top of the Whitecaps 3-0. The Whitecaps scored just 1 run yesterday against Falmouth, and now they haven't scored today. They did win that game, though, completely shut out the Commodores, as the first pitch to Kyle Datris is high for ball 1. Datris doesn't have a hit today, not the only Whitecap. The 1-0 is swung on and fouled straight behind him over the press box. So the count moves to 1-1. That one looks like it might have hit somebody's car, so not a good day. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kyle Datris. As I mentioned, he hasn't got on. Grounded out to second in the 1st inning and had a pop fly to first in the 4th. The next pitch to Datris misses upstairs for ball 2.
You know, I think an insurance company is missing an opportunity here by not advertising their coverage at ball games like this.
You're taking a chance when you park your car close to the field here at Red Wilson as the next pitch is taken high. The closest parking spots are just a foul pitch away from breaking a windshield, and we may have just seen that. 3 balls, 1 strike to the number 2 hitter for the Whitecaps. Here comes the 3-1. This one hit high in the air, a high pop fly. This one, the right fielder calling it off, and he will make the grab. So that's 2 outs, 2 up, 2 down for Bubic here in the top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, nice job by McKenna. He and the center fielder, Isbell, were kind of warring for a bit out there in right center field, but he was able to bring down the baseball.
Now Michael Curry up to bat. First pitch to Curry is misses for ball 1. Marty Costas up on deck for the Whitecaps. A swing and a miss there from Curry. Curry almost went totally around on that swing. So 1 ball and 1 strike to today's designated hitter for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Curry with a smile on his face as usual there in the batter's box. Kind of a tricky pitch from Bubic to even the count at 1-1.
Next pitch is in for ball 2 from Bubic. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Nobody on for the Whitecaps. The 2-1. This one low in the dirt for ball 3. So Curry going ahead in the count 3-1. Connor Smith and Kyle Datris have both gotten out. Smith on a ground out, Datris on a pop fly. Here comes the 3-1. This one in for a strike to make the count full. Curry didn't like that call very much. Walks away, takes a couple of practice swings to collect himself. That pitch on the inside corner for strike 2. Curry calling for time. The 3-2. This one, a chopper hit to the shortstop and fielded over to Rivas at first, and that's another 1-2-3 inning for Bubic. So after, in the top of the 6th inning, the Whitecaps don't get a hit, don't get a run, and don't leave anybody on. It's still 3-0, Whitey on top of Brewster. After 5.5 innings of play, you're listening to the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan.
The last time we saw a run score was the 3rd inning in this 3-0 game. Whitey on as the first pitch from Will Tribuker misses to the number 9 hitter for the Red Sox, Mike Casala. 1 ball and no strikes to Casala. The 1-0. This one fouled out behind him over the press box. The count moves to 1-1. As I mentioned, the last time this score changed at all was the 3rd inning, and that was a homer, a 2-run shot from Alfonso Rivas in the bottom of the 3rd inning for this Red Sox squad. Since then, just silence on both ends for both teams as the 1-1 misses outside from Tribuker. Count moves to 2-1. Horner and Isbell, the top of the order, also due up for the Red Sox. The 2-1 is straight down the middle for strike 2. Count evens. Casala had a pop fly in the first inning to left field, as this next pitch from Tribuker is in the dirt. Almost got a piece of Casala in the foot there, had to move his foot out of the way, but the count is now full. And Casala's last at-bat moved Connor Kaiser over to third. He had a nice little sacrifice bunt that got a runner in scoring position, but Whitey unable to bring Kaiser home as the payoff pitch is a strike. Casala was on his way to first. Got a great jump there to first base, but Jeff January says it's a strike, and so Casala starts his inning with a strikeout.
Well, it was a well-placed fastball in the eyes of Jeff January from Will Tribuker, and what goes around comes around, right? Because Tribuker had a couple of calls that weren't called for a strike they didn't like, now a couple of calls that the hitters didn't like.
Nico Horner hits the first ball over to Foyle, and that one will not go fair. Or that one is caught by Foyle, excuse me. For out number 2.
So Foyle's having to deal with the sun out there in right field. Still, we were talking about a lot of it about the Stony Brook field yesterday. Right now, the pitcher and the hitter are in shadow, but there's still plenty of sun out there in the outfield, especially out in right.
So 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch is a swing and a miss to Kyle Isbell. Isbell is a strikeout victim, although he was struck out by Tribuker in the 4th inning. As the 0-1 is chopped up, this one will roll foul on the first base line. Julian Infante running over to grab that ball. Tribuker has 5 strikeouts today. Coming in relief for J.R. McDermott and has been truly stellar for this Whitecaps squad. The 0-1, that one low to Justin Coons. So 1 ball, but is called a strike, so 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kyle Isbell. Tribuker with the 1-2. This one low in the dirt, so that will move the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, nobody on.
This has been a terrific performance from Will Tribuker. I mean, this is a team that's always looking for solid length out of his bullpen. You know, we've talked about the value in a guy who can go in and just eat up innings and put up zeros to bridge the gap when a starter doesn't have his best stuff.
The 2-2. This one, a breaking ball that Isbell had to kind of move his body out of the way to not get hit by it, so that's ball 3. The count again full from Tribuker. Waiting on the payoff pitch. Here it comes. That one, a grounder that will find the seam in between Molfetta and Smith. The second baseman and the shortstop for a base hit there from Casala, and that is the first hit Tribuker's given up today.
Yeah, and it's tough for Tribuker because he got what he wanted. He got a piece of soft contact, just kind of pounded that one into the ground. But as you said, Maura, it just kind of snuck its way through the middle and into center field. Now he's got to reset because a dangerous hitter coming up to the plate now.
Alex McKenna now up to bat for YD with a runner on first. Again, 2 outs though. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. YD leading 3-0 on Brewster. Here comes the first pitch to McKenna. That one's right up the middle for strike number 1. McKenna walked in the first inning, had a single in the 3rd, and then struck out in the 5th inning against Tribuker. Tribuker with the 0-1. Runner moving to second as McKenna makes hard contact, but that one tails foul on the right field side. Got a good piece of that, did McKenna, but he goes behind in the count 0-2, and the runner, Isbell, has to retreat back to first base. And once again, Tribuker 1 strike away from ending this inning. Tribuker with the 0-2. This one chopped up. Tribuker himself has to go make it. That one blooped in front of Coons, and Tribuker made the throw, and he was safe. A close call there, but McKenna, with the wheels he has, was able to get there in time. Tribuker threw a rocket over there, but a close call from Jeff Menzel, and he'll call it as safe. So McKenna now at first, and a runner on second. That's Kyle Isbell with Alfonso Rivas up to bat.
Whew, that was Julian Infante was heading toward the dugout after that, before the call, I should say, from Jeff Merzel.
Which we've seen Infante do twice today. First pitch into Alfonso Rivas is in for a strike. Runners on first and second. Rivas talked about this a lot, but he did homer today. The last guy to score. And he'll hit one, a hard foul that just does not stay fair on the third base line. Again, a nice piece of contact there from Rivas as the runners were going.
Yeah, that was almost a two-run double there if that was a couple feet toward the line. Nicely done, as you said, by Rivas to get good contact on it.
The first baseman for YD has reached base all 3 times today. A single in the first. Again, that home run that brought home McKenna in the third, and then a walk in the fifth as he hits one right to Connor Smith at shortstop. That one almost hit Isbell, moving to third, but Connor Smith able to make the play over to Julian Infante, end the inning. So on one hit, no runs come through for the YD Red Sox, and they'll leave 2 on. We're through 6 innings of play. The score has not changed. It's still Red Sox 3, Whitecaps 0. You're listening to the Whitecaps Radio Network.
Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. We enter the 7th here in South Yarmouth, and the day is done for Chris Bubich after 6 innings. Graham will come on and relieve him. Tanner Graham, who was warming up in the bullpen for a pretty long length of time. He was throwing a lot of pitches out there, the right-hander out of UAB. And so a lefty leaves and a righty replaces him on the mound, and Marty Costas takes the first pitch fastball in there for a strike. Some life to that fastball from Tanner Graham. The line on Bubich, he threw 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks, did hit a batter. And here comes the 0-1 to Costas, who checks the swing and holds up on a pitch that was low. So that evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. So far for Marty, a single in the second and stole second base, and then a fly ball to right field. 1-1 pitch. Is it high in the air? Right field, shallow right. Coming on is the right fielder McKenna, and he will make the grab. And that retires Costas, so Costas with a couple of fly balls to McKenna in this ball game. The score, YD 3 and Brewster nothing. We are in the top of the 7th, as I mentioned. And with Julian Infante digging in from the right side, it looks like Chandler Taylor has taken his hacks in the on-deck circle. So as we speculated, Maura, now that the lefty is off the mound, looks like Chandler Taylor will come on and replace Zach Gahagan, who is slotted in left field for Brewster. The pitch to Infante is a fastball in there for strike number 1. So Tanner Graham starting both of the hitters that he has faced so far off with first pitch fastballs. Graham, this season, this is appearance number 7 for him. The pitch to the right-hander. Misses up high on an off-speed pitch, makes the count 1-1 strike. Graham has a .540 ERA in 6 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 11 hits in those 6 2/3, walked 2, and struck out 4. Faces a 1-1 count against the righty swinging Infante. Here it comes. It's hit high in the air. Sounded like he might have broken his bat. It's headed into shallow left field. Coming on is Cortez, and he makes the catch, moving in a couple of steps to his left. And that retires Julian Infante. So a couple of little loopers into the outfield for Tanner Graham to begin his outing. And there are 2 gone quickly here in the top of inning number 7.
And I know we were talking about changes. It looks like Mickey Gasper's on deck right now for the Whitecaps. So assuming he will be catching now for Justin Coons.
So here is Chandler Taylor. As you mentioned before, the slugger out of Alabama, the left-handed hitter, digging in for the Brewster Whitecaps for the first time, coming in for Gahagan, who struck out twice in his day at the plate. Here comes the pitch to the lefty. It misses outside. Chandler Taylor having a terrific season when he's been able to get to the plate in terms of power. Just hitting .239 average-wise, but 4 home runs and 10 runs driven in. Pitch misses low to make the count 2-0. He's also got some speed. We've seen Chandler Taylor before lay down a bunt single. Done it twice, actually, this season. As the third baseman tosses in a little bit over at third. 2-0 pitch. Misses low again on a fastball, so 3-0. Tanner Graham falling behind in the count to Chandler Taylor. Graham, a rising junior out of Killen, Alabama, from Brooks High School, from UAB. He's a Blazer. Here comes a 3-0 offering, and he grooves that one right down the middle for strike 1. Looks like Taylor was taken all the way. The 3 runs in this game all came via YD Red Sox homers. YD ahead 3-0. A home run from Horner in the first inning and a 2-run shot from Rivas in the third are all the scoring that we have seen so far in this ball game. YD has knocked at the door to get more. They've left 10 runners on already here through their 6 innings of hitting. 3-1 pitch is hit well out to left center field. Moving back is the center fielder looking up over toward the wall, and he makes the catch on the run, moving to his right. Chandler Taylor put a charge into that baseball, but it was corralled out there by Isbell. So 3 baseballs into the outfield for Brewster, but they have nothing to show for it. They go down 1-2-3 in the 7th inning. We're through 6.5. It's time to stretch here at Red Wilson Field. The Whitecaps trail YD 3-0. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Welcome back to Red Wilson Field, starting the bottom of the 7th. Brewster trailing YD 3-0, and there's a platoon swap on our hands. Jamie Shevchik making a host of defensive changes. We're just going to reset the Brewster defense for you here for the Whitecaps. Chandler Taylor, as we speculated, is out in left field. Costas still in center. Foyle still in right. Datra still at third. Graffinino replaces Smith at short. Dunn replaces Malfetta at second. Infante still over at first base. And Gasper replaces Coons behind the plate. And on top of all that, we've got a new pitcher. Jonathan Stever is on, the righty workhorse out of Indiana, who will face Cortez, Koss, and Mendoza in the bottom of the 7th. The first pitch to Carlos Cortez misses low on a breaking ball. Makes the count 1-0. That's kind of quite a rare sight this season, Jonathan Stever throwing a pitch out of the strike zone. He's a guy who loves to fill up the zone, has yet to walk a batter in 14 1/3 innings pitched this year. The 1-0 pitch again misses, that one away on a fastball, makes the count 2-0. Stever's ERA 6.28. This is appearance number 5 for him. 20 hits in those 14 1/3. 2-0 pitch again misses low, so 3-0. And Stever, who has struck out 14 against, again, no walks this season, is on the verge of changing that here. Here comes a 3-0 pitch to the lefty Cortez, and it's grooved in there for strike number 1. Cortez practically had the bat on his shoulder there. All these changes for Jamie Shevchik, of course, after the lefty starter Bubic was removed. 3-1 pitch, hit well on the ground, and it gets past the first baseman Infante and in the right field down the line. Scrambling over to field it is Foyle, hesitating for a moment and now trucking into second base and sliding in there safely is Carlos Cortez. That baseball just got caught up in the grass in the right field line, wound up coming to a stop before Foyle grabbed it, and Cortez is now over at second base with a double.
Well, that might be the first time we've seen, I wouldn't call it a mistake by Julian Infante, but you just expect so much from him out there that almost anything hit towards him, you just assume he has.
Wow, well, you might not call it a mistake, but the official scorer is going to call it a mistake. It's an error on Infante. That was a hard-hit baseball down the line, and it did just deflect off his glove, so they're going to give him the error. Here's Christian Koss. He's a right-handed hitter. The pitch, he shows bunt. It bunts it high in the air. The catcher Gasper is under it, and he makes the catch. So Koss tries to lay down the sacrifice and instead pops out to the catcher Gasper, who was ready, whipped off the mask and made the catch. And that is out number 1. And that is, I remember when we were talking to Coach Shevchik after the game yesterday, and he said we had 4 straight games without an error. We'll reset the sign in the dugout because that is an E3 on Infante. Now, that's a tough error because that was hit pretty hard down the line. But the decision is final most of the time. And so Cortez is on second base. Here comes the pitch. It's low to the lefty hitting Drew Mendoza. Mendoza today is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch in the 5th inning. That's the one time he's reached base. 1-0 is the count. Here's the pitch from Stever. Fastball in there for a strike at Beniz. That's kind of more what we're used to from Jonathan Stever. Filling up the zone, throws a lot of pitches down in the zone to try and get soft contact. 1-1 now the count. The pitch from the right-hander is fouled away. The line on Tribuker, who had a terrific day for Brewster on the mound. Through 2 2/3, no runs on 3 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 5. It was a tremendous performance from him after J.R. McDermott just didn't have his best stuff on the mound, the starter for Brewster today. He came in and gave him some innings. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's up high to make the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Stever, of course, we've been talking about his quest to maybe throw a little bit fewer strikes on the mound, which is so odd for a pitcher. 2-2 pitch. Ooh, just misses outside. That's the ball 3, makes the count 3-2. And we're waiting on a payoff pitch here to Drew Mendoza, the DH in YD's lineup. It's 3-0 Red Sox. And the 3-2 pitch is cut on and missed, strike 3. That's what Jonathan Stever is looking for a little bit more of, as he fooled Mendoza, was well out in front of that one. And that is the first strikeout for Stever, and there's 2 away. Now Connor Kaiser will dig in, hitting from the right side, trying to bring around this runner on second base as Carlos Cortez hit a hot shot down the first baseline, but Infante couldn't handle. It was ruled an E3, and he's on second base with 2 men out now. The pitch is in there for a strike inside corner, makes the count 0-1 on Kaiser. Kaiser today has a walk, an infield single, and a strikeout. The final 2 of which came against Will Tribuker. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. Hit hard on the ground, off the pitcher's mound, and rolling into center field for a base hit. Just out of the reach of a second baseman, Dunn. Rounding third and heading home is Carlos Cortez, and heading into second base, and he is going to be tagged out at second base by Nick Dunn is Connor Kaiser. Not sure what he was thinking there. There was nobody covering second for the moment since the 2 middle infielders converged to try and field the baseball, but Dunn was right there with the ball in his hand, and he was able to run him down. So it's an RBI single for Connor Kaiser. It's now 4-0 YD, and that ends the inning. We're through 7, 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left on base for the Red Sox in the 7th. It's 4-0 YD after 7. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. We welcome you back to South Yarmouth, getting ready to start the top of the 8th. It's 4-0 here between Brewster and YD. Let's get caught up on all the other games on the Cape today with Koki Riley.
Thanks, Carter. Hyannis and Cotuit are tied 7-7 in the 6th inning. Falmouth's up 4-0 in the 3rd inning. Orleans and Harwich are in a scoreless tie in the 1st inning. And finally, Chatham and Wareham are also in a scoreless tie in the 2nd inning. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Koki. There's another new pitcher to tell you about for YD. It's Andrew Cazada out of Cal State Fullerton, or rather he'll be at Cal State Fullerton next year. A JUCO product who's making the move up to one of the most powerful programs in all of Division I baseball. This is I believe the first appearance for him this year. No, I'm sorry, it's number 3. He was brought up recently, but has gotten brought into 2 games so far this season. In those 2 outings, he's thrown 2 innings, given up 2 hits, struck out 2, and walked nobody in that time. So 2's go wild. Number 20 on the mound is Andrew Cazada.
Number 20 from Cal State Fullerton, Andrew Cazada.
Cazada is a rising junior, as I mentioned, coming out of Cypress College, and he has a long workload. It's kind of interesting to see him come in a relief situation as Mickey Gasper will dig in for Brewster. The pitch is in there for a strike. Gasper came on as a defensive replacement for Coons. Part of that big platoon swap for the Whitecaps as Nick Dunn is now at second, and so he's on deck. Pitch to Gasper is in there for a strike. So dropping in 2 strikes quickly is Cazada. And the count is 0-2 quickly on the Brewster backstop. 0-2 pitch misses up and away. Cazada, as I mentioned, he threw 108 innings this past spring with Cypress Community College, through a total of 6 complete games. Did that in just 15 outings, and all but 1 of those were starts. 1-2 pitches hit hard down the right field line. That one is going to drop in for a base hit and rolling all the way to the wall in the right field corner. Rounding first base and heading into second is Gasper, and he will get there with a stand-up double. Mickey Gasper with a leadoff 2-bagger here in the 8th inning, and Brewster is threatening.
Second baseman from Maryland, number 39.
And now it's up to Nick Dunn. With Foyle still standing on deck, Nick Dunn also taking his first hacks of the game. Mickey Gasper, that's got to feel good. It's tough to just come in and grab a bat. Obviously, he had an inning as the catcher behind the plate and made a nice play on a bunt pop fly, but still taking his first hacks of the ball game and able to rip one down the right field line for a double. So here's Nick Dunn. The pitch to Belefti misses inside, and it looked like the catcher Casala was crossed up. He had to reach way across his body to get that breaking ball, and he'll go out and chat with Cazada on the mound for a minute here. Cazada comes on in relief of Tanner Graham, who threw a perfect inning. Did not walk anybody, did not strike out anybody. So 1 inning pitched and nothing across for him. And Nick Dunn is ready for a 1-0 pitch. Here it comes. It's a breaking ball, and it misses low. Makes the count 2 balls and no strikes. Gasper aboard second base. The Whitecaps are trailing 4-0. A solo shot by Nico Horner gave YD a 1-0 lead in the first. Then Alfonso Rivas did a 2-run homer that made it 3-0. And then an RBI single from Kaiser made it 4-0 in the 7th. The pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground, left side. On the run is the third baseman, Koss, and he's going to run out of room. It drops. Doesn't look like Koss had the best route to that baseball, as it's tough to judge a pop fly like that. And it lands in foul ground over by the Red Sox bullpen. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike on Nick Dunn. Dunn on the season for the Brewster Whitecaps, hitting .241. .333 on base percentage, no home runs, and 6 runs driven in. One of the lefties that Jamie Shevchik brought in after the lefty starter Bubic was pulled after 6 excellent innings of work. 2-1 pitch is grounded foul behind the plate. Count now even 2-2 on Dunn. 0-4-1 for the visiting Brewster Whitecaps. 4-8-0. For the home team, the YD Red Sox, here in the top of the 8th. Carter Woodell and Morris Sheridan here with you. Thank you so much for tuning in on this great day in sports today. 2-2 pitch is hit on the ground sharply down the right side. It's fielded over there by the first baseman Rivas, and he will flip over to a covering Quezada for out number 1. But Gasper does move over to third. So Dunn unable to get on, but does push the runner along. And now a chance here for Devin Foyle to try and drive in a run. Foyle still without an RBI on the season. Came into this game hitting .156, and he is 0 for 2 today. Though he did hit 1 baseball hard out to left field in the 3rd inning. Brought in by Cortez. The pitch to a switch hitter is in there for a strike. Checked his swing. Foyle wheeling around to the left side. Sitting from the right side against the lefty starter Bubic, but now against the righty Quezada. 0-1 pitch. Misses down and in. Nearly skipped off of Foyle's toes, makes the count 1-1. Gasper is on third base. There's 1 out. Brewster trying to come out of a 4-0 hole here in the top of the 8th inning. And Quezada is ready. Here comes the pitch. It's grounded foul again. That one just whacked off the shin of Devin Foyle, but he's wearing a guard. The count is 1-2. Quezada with Cypress last year, I mentioned he threw those 108 innings, and with good reason, you could say. His ERA was just 1.17. Struck out 85 hitters. 1-2 pitch is a ground ball right side, and it's just foul. That one just skipped foul of the first base bag. Rivas was there to handle it, but Jeff Merzel over at first base says foul ball, and the count is 1-2. Night beginning to fall here at Red Wilson Field. The temperature dropping a bit. The wind perhaps subsiding a touch, though it's still going out to left field. The outfielders still have to deal with a little bit of sun, especially in right. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's a soft ground ball right back to the pitcher. Quezada checks the runner at third and now goes to first base for the out. So Foyle unable to move Gasper home, and it'll be up to the leadoff hitter, the leadoff spot, where Connor Smith once was, and now it's A.J. Graffinino who replaced him in the field, who will come on with a runner on third and 2 out. So Graffinino digging in for his first hacks of the game. As the lineup changes on Jamie Shevchik's card, kind of making themselves known. The pitch to a lefty hitter is taken for a strike at the knees. Graffinino on the season, hitting .319, no homers, 5 runs driven, and a .360 OBP, and he swings over the top of one there, makes the count 0-2. That was a nice little off-speed pitch, low in the dirt from Andrew Quezada, and it makes the count no balls and 2 strikes. Gasper at third base with 2 out. The Red Sox on top of this game, 4-0 in the top of the 8th. The 0-2 pitch misses outside in a fastball, makes the count 1-2. Big spot here for Graffinino. You feel like you have to cut down into this lead. At least force Scott Pickler to bring in his closer, Riley McCauley. By making it a save situation. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him on a ball in the dirt. Looked like he was golfing there, was A.J. Graffinino, and he strikes out swinging. So the leadoff double from Mickey Gasper does not come back to bite the YD Red Sox for Brewster in the 8th. No runs on 1 hit and 1 left. At the end of 7.5 innings of play, it's 4-0 YD. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Back at Red Wilson Field, it's 4-0 Red Sox as we go to the bottom of the 8th. And we were talking before about workhorses, and here's another one on the mound for Brewster as Paulie Milto will relieve his Indiana teammate Jonathan Seaver and come on here in the 8th inning. Seaver goes an inning, gives up 1 unearned run on 1 hit, no walks as is typical for him, and 1 strikeout. The numbers on Milto so far this season, this is appearance number 7. He's got a .473 ERA, thrown 13 1/3 innings pitched, 15 hits allowed, 7 walks, and 13 Ks. And the first pitch is hit high in the air, foul ground right side by the 9-hitter Mike Casala, who will lead things off in the bottom of the 8th. It's 9-1-2 for YD here in this bottom of the 8th inning. That's Casala, Horner, and Isbell to be exact. Here comes the 0-1. And it misses low to bring the count even. 1 ball and 1 strike. Paulie Milto, when last we saw him, he pitched in yesterday's game through just 1 inning against Falmouth. Only gave up 1 hit, no runs. The pitch is hit high in the air, straightaway right field, and making the catch after a moment of hesitation is Devin Foyle. He barely had to move, just took maybe 1 step in as he made the catch. So the right fielder Foyle does his job, and Casala is retired. 1 gone in the bottom of the 8th. And now here comes Nico Horner. Horner has what would stand up as the technical game-winning hit. The first pitch he saw in the first inning, he went yard over the center field wall. Pitch to the righty is a fastball in there for a strike on the inside corner. A solo shot from Horner made it 1-0. It's now 4-0 YD in the bottom of the 8th. The pitch from Milto misses low to make the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Horner has yet to reach base after that home run. A couple of strikeouts, 1 against McDermott and 1 against Tribuker, and then a fly out to right in the 6th. 1-1 pitch. Hit high in the air, right side, shallow right field. Moving back is the first baseman Infante, and he makes the catch, calling everybody off. Kind of a bit of a circuitous route there. Moved up the right field foul line and then wound up backpedaling for a bit and reaching back and making the catch. So Infante able to make a nice play over there at first base. Horner is retired. 2 quick outs here in the 8th. And now it'll be Kyle Isbell digging in. The run and revel from UNLV, who is 1 for 4. That hit came off of Tribuker in the 6th inning. A single. The pitch is in there for a strike. The count is 0-1. That had a nice sound when it whacked into the glove of Mickey Gasper. Don't know if it picks up on our mics here on the road, but a terrific pitch. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Off speed, misses outside. Milto, the rising junior from Greenwood, Indiana. His fastball will sit in the high 80s. Here comes the 1-1. It's hit high in the air, a high pop fly into shallow center field. Coming in is the center fielder Costas. He gets under it, and he makes the catch. So 3 outs in order for the 9-1-2 hitters of the YD Red Sox. Paulie Milto, nice and efficient in the 8th inning. They go down 1-2-3. We are through 8 innings of play. Final 3 outs for Brewster coming up. They trail 4-0. You're listening to the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. Now, back to Brewster Whitecaps baseball. Here are Carter Wadil and Maura Sheridan. Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochem, and software development online at www.curry.edu. Whitecaps down to their final 3 outs. We're in the top of the 9th inning. YD ahead 4-0 here at Red Wilson Field. And the first pitch to Kyle Datris is in there for a strike on the fastball from Cazada, who is back out for his 2nd inning of work. It is the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Brewster lineup here due up in the 9th inning. Datris, Curry, and then Marty Costas. The pitch to the right-hander is a high chopper toward the left side, fielded by the shortstop Kaiser. He scoops it up and throws to first base in time for the out. That was a tricky hop for Kaiser to handle, wound up fielding it right against his body like you might see a wide receiver cradle a pass, but he was able to make the throw over, and that's the first out of the 9th inning. Now it's Michael Curry's turn. Curry has reached base tonight. It was when he got hit with a pitch on the elbow. That was in the 4th inning. Wound up being left on 3rd base. Brewster has left 4 runners on in this game. The first pitch is in there for a called strike. So again, getting on top of him with the fastball is Cazada. Was only given up 1 hit in his inning and a third of work so far. 0-1 pitch misses low. Makes the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Both of these teams, as we mentioned at the very beginning of this game, are 12, 10, and 1. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Foul back to the screen. Just got a piece of that to Michael Curry, and he shakes his head as that one really had to stretch out of the zone to reach that baseball. Makes the count 1 and 2 on the right-handed hitter. Both of these teams second to the Orleans Firebirds in the East Division. The Firebirds have kind of come back to earth a little bit after that hot streak, but they're still sitting pretty on the top of the standings at 15-8. 1-2 pitch misses inside on a fastball. Curry had to wheel around a bit. Brings the count even 2 and 2. After this for Brewster, it's 3 more road games. It's the first of 4 straight games on the road for the Whitecaps. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball just misses outside. The catcher Casala held that one there for a good long while, but it's ruled a ball from Jeff January behind the dish. So the count full now on Curry, and here comes the payoff. Breaking ball fouled away, just spoiled that one, did Curry. And he'll take a walk around the circle. Looking a little frustrated at the plate is Michael Curry, always a guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve in the batter's box. But as he does, he takes a deep breath as he digs back into the batter's box and will reset. 3-2 is the count on the DH out of Georgia. Cazada deals 3-2. Hit high in the air, foul ground right field, and will tail away out of play. Curry put some good wood on that, but it's in foul ground. And the count will stay 3 balls and 2 strikes. Next 3 games for Brewster, they go to Wareham for a makeup game tomorrow. Here comes the pitch to the right-hander. It is in there, called. Strike 3. Curry can't believe it. He covers his mouth with his right hand and will walk slowly back to the dugout. He thought that pitch was inside and did not agree with Jeff January's call. So Michael Curry gets his first strikeout of the game. It's strikeout number 2 for Cazada on the mound, and out number 2 in the 9th.
Well, the whole dugout visibly frustrated with that call right there.
The righty Marty Costas, it's a high pop fly over the second base bag and hitting into shallow center, and now it's going to be caught by the shortstop Kaiser, and that is your ball game. Well, Brewster, a day after getting a shutout from their pitching staff, now they know what it's like to be on the other end. They are shut out by a final score of 4-0 at the hands of the YD Red Sox. Here they go down 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th. Brewster falling to 12-11 and 1, 13-10 and 1 now with the win are the YD Red Sox. And Mara, just seemed like the offense just couldn't get it going today.
I mean, that was true yesterday too. They did have 6 hits, but they only scored 1 run. They left Nick Dunn at third twice yesterday, actually. So this is a similar game, except for this time, facing a team that was able to score 4 runs on them. So this offense has kind of been had an issue scoring for the past 2 games in a row now.
No runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Whitecaps. They leave 4 on base for YD, 4 runs, 8 hits. They do not commit an error in the ball game, and they left 10 runners on base in this game. We're not done here from Red Wilson Field. Got a lot more to tell you, got a lot more to show you, a lot more to talk about, including hearing from the player of the game and head coach Jamie Shevchik of the Brewster Whitecaps. He'll be with Aiden Doyle in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. The postgame is coming up. You're listening to Brewster Whitecaps Baseball on the Whitecaps Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. The Whitecaps postgame show is coming up right after this.
That was huge for us. It's huge for the momentum going into tomorrow.
Only on the Brewster Whitecaps Radio Network. All right, we welcome you back to Red Wilson Field here. Carter Woodell and Morris Sheridan here with you. The final score of this ball game, 4-0, YD over the Brewster Whitecaps. The Red Sox get their 13th win of the year. Let's send it over to Aiden Joyle, who is with the starter for Brewster today. Aiden?
Thanks, Carter. Here with J.R. McDermott. J.R., obviously today your last start as a Brewster Whitecap didn't exactly go as you would have liked it. Had some trouble with your command, but the breaking stuff looked a little bit better as the game progressed. How would you evaluate your performance out there on the mound today?
It was tough. I mean, my arm felt very heavy today. There's nothing you can do about that, but I need to come out and compete a little better. I feel like I kind of gathered myself near the end, but I feel like I need to come out and be more ready to go.
Overall, though, this season certainly a successful one for you, coming in as a Division II player, temporary contract. You came into this game 4th in the league in ERA with a 2.02 ERA. Just can you reflect back a little bit on what your time with the Whitecaps has meant?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been a great opportunity to come out here and play with the best. I've learned so much about myself and stuff that I need to improve on going into next year, and I'm just excited to go back and sad to leave, but
you're leaving behind some teammates as well. I know you just saw, I just saw you saying goodbye to a lot of them. Can you just talk about the relationships, also the friendships you've established with some fellow Whitecaps this summer?
Oh, it's already a family. I mean, I've known these guys for a month, and I'll stay in touch with them probably for the rest of my life.
All right. Thanks, JR.
That's what the Cape Cod League does. I mean, that's what folks will talk about. You know, you hear stories from players who have come on this league, and they'll say, even if they don't go out the way that they would like to, as J.R. McDermott did here, it's still something that they carry with them for the rest of their lives. I mean, this is a summer that they're never going to forget.
Absolutely, and the Whitecaps will not forget JR. He has been stellar for them, regardless of what today turned out as, you know, a loss and just 2 long balls that really got him there. But this is a guy that, as Aiden said, came in as a D2 player who nobody really thought he was going to be successful and turned into one of the best starters for Brewster. So they will absolutely miss J.R. McDermott.
Well, running through the totals again, Brewster falling to YD 4-0, 4-8-0 for YD. They leave 10 on. Brewster no runs, 4 hits, 1 error. They end that streak of 4 straight games with that one, which I have a feeling Jamie Shevchik might talk about when he talks to Aiden today in just a minute or two. They left 4 on base to the Brewster Whitecaps. Chris Bubich gets the win for YD. He's now 3-1 on the season, and J.R. McDermott is saddled with the loss for Brewster. He finishes his Whitecaps career with a record of 2-2. Time of the game, 2 hours and 24 minutes. 800 people turned out here to watch it here at Red Wilson Field. And I, at the risk of giving you a tough question here, Maura, what can the Whitecaps take away looking into this next game that they can keep that they want to keep going. This was a tough game on a lot of different facets. But is there anything that Jamie Shevchik can say, maybe when he's talking to his guys, and say, hey, listen, this is what we want you to remember. This is what we want you to hold on to?
Well, I mean, again, I think it's just a small field, so the long ball was an issue, and that's not going to happen in every park in the Cape League. So, you know, if you subtract those two, it's a 1-0 game. So I do think that the pitching was there, and I think that what you can come out of it is Will Tribuker coming in relief. You know, he had 5 strikeouts, came in and did a great job in relief, and so did Stever and the rest of the bullpen. So I think that's something you can take out as a positive for this Whitecap squad.
All right, and the head coach of the Whitecaps, Jamie Shevchik, is ready to go. He is standing by with our own Aiden Doyle. Aiden, take it away.
Thanks, Carter. Here with Coach Shevchik. Coach, obviously a tough one here, losing 4-0 to the YD Red Sox. J.R. McDermott with his final start as a Brewster Whitecap this season. You talked about his need to command his fastball, especially low in the zone. What did you see from your starter out there today?
The opposite. You know, a lot of his stuff was up. Control wasn't there, and I think part of that was, you know, he came back on short rest. You know, his first couple starts, he was going on 6 days, maybe even 7 days, and to bounce him back with only 4 days in between, you know, it wasn't easy on him. We kind of put him in a bad spot, but again, it was his last day. He wanted one more start, and for what he's done for us this year, we're gonna give him that opportunity.
Tribuker, though, came into the game, pitched very well, gave certainly the offense a chance to win. Can you talk about the southpaw a little bit?
It was really good. You know, I think the more confidence that he gets, the better he's going to be. You know, so you know, getting down the stretch run, you know, these guys are becoming more valuable. Guys like Milto and Stever and Tribuker, because you know pitching is wearing thin, and we're getting down to crunch time, and you know, so we're going to have to heavily rely on everybody in the bullpen. So it's not like, you know, the opportunities are going to be there. When they get them, they're going to have to perform.
And with McDermott leaving, obviously that leaves a spot open in the rotation. Any idea of front runner about who's going to replace him there?
We think it's going to be Stephen Jones, and Stephen Jones will be here next week. So we're going to have to kind of piece it together until he gets here. Stephen Jones was a starter at Sanford, so we plan on starting him here too. It's just going to be a matter of time of getting him into Brewster, and that's going to be another couple days.
Offensively today, a bit of a struggle, just 4 hits for the team. Bubic did a great job out on the mound for YD. This is a team that even yesterday only had 6 hits and a run. So how do you, moving forward, get them to produce more, certainly get on base?
He did a really good job. I mean, he mixed up his pitches. He kept us off balance. He had a bunch of strikeouts. We struck out way too much today, and we just couldn't get anything going. I mean, we were literally, and I think everything starts with our starting pitcher, you know, in every game. So because JR didn't have his stuff, he kind of lulled us a little bit, and you know, put us in that funk. And everything revolves around what your starter does, as you know, on the hill. When a guy goes out there and he's high energy and he's throwing a lot of strikes, you know, the position players feed off that. And he was kind of the opposite today, but it wasn't, you know, this is not going to define his Cape season, because he's had a great summer, and we're happy for him.
All right, thanks, Coach.
You have to like that closing note to say that he really did have a great summer, and Jamie Shevchik hits the nail right on the head. Brewster again falling to the YD Red Sox by a final score of 4-0. And Stephen Jones out of Sanford University in Birmingham is the name that Jamie Shevchik tabs. That could take that slot in the rotation that J.R. McDermott has left sitting empty. Well, for Morris Sheridan and Aiden Doyle, I'm Carter Woodhill. That's going to about do it for us here from Red Wilson Field here in YD. I'm looking ahead to tomorrow. They're going to be at Spillane Field in Wareham. That's the next time you'll be able to hear us here on the Whitecaps Radio Network. The game starts at 6:30. We'll be on the air at about 6:15 tomorrow night. That's when you can tune in and listen to us. Maybe listen to us, watch the All-Star Game on TV. That's what I would do if I were you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, the final score, YD winners tonight by a score of 4-0 over Brewster. This is the Whitecaps Radio Network.